Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Swipe Up, the 121st episode of the show where I share some of my favorite posts from Instagram, or posts that I want to share, posts that I want to talk about. Let's get it started with something that should have been predicted. Was it predicted? Did people say this could happen? This one from the LA Times. Children apologize to their dying elders for spreading COVID as LA County reels. Not to really talk about, the fact that so many people that I've heard on podcasts, so many cars that I've seen on my own street, houses with parties going on. A lot of people just kind of wanted to pretend that the pandemic wasn't real so they could spend time with their families. And surprise, surprise, the pandemic is still real. COVID does kill people, and a lot of those people got sick during the holidays because they're just, I don't know. First off, I'm not a big Christmas fan. I'm not a big holiday fan. I don't have any specific desire to be around people just because of the time of year that it is. Not having to go, not that I have family to go spend Christmas with, but even if I did, I would have no problem not seeing anybody, which I didn't have any problem seeing anybody during the holidays. But yeah, LA is ridiculous. Southern California is ridiculous. A lot of places around the country are still ridiculous. Cases are starting to pop up all around the world again. There's supposed to be some mutations that actually make the virus even easier to catch. And people downplay it. People acting like it's no big deal, or they want to get it. There's plenty of comedians that I've heard that want to get it just to get it out of the way. Dr. Drew said he actually did get it, and kind of apologized for downplaying the virus, saying it was less dangerous than the flu. At least he did in the early days. Also the guy that said all the MAGA people were just funny and shouldn't be taken seriously. Of course, then there was the terrorist attack on the Capitol, which, Dr. Drew is big fans with Adam Carolla, and he's on the I'm sure a big Trump supporter, if not. I'm sure their fan base, let's say, they lost a lot of Twitter followers. Let's say that. Let's just say Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla lost a lot of Twitter followers in this past month, and some of them because of death. So moving on from rest in peace to the what I've heard will probably be 500,000 in the next few months. Moving on now to a beautiful illustration of how all of these conservatives are acting. It's a little cartoon, 3 panels. The top one is a dude with a MAGA hat riding a bicycle holding a Confederate flag. He puts the flag underneath the front wheel, causing the bike to turn over and him to fall down. And as he grabs his knee, yelling to the sky, Antifa! Because that is what they're doing. They are playing victims as they always do. It's very interesting to see and to witness the fact that all of these people who were so eager to insult once Trump really started running, they really felt emboldened to just be assholes to everybody. But all of their words that they use were probably just words that they know define themselves, specifically Snowflake, because they seem to be melting calling being banned from Twitter a First Amendment thing, as if you don't sign a contract when you sign up for social media accounts where, because it's a private business. It's a private business. Anyway, so I love that cartoon. Hilarious and on point. Then we have, of course, the GOAT, the greatest of all time in MMA, my favorite MMA fighter. Um, Actually, I might do a top five of my top five MMA fighters. So he may or may not be on my top five. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm talking about George St. Pierre, GSP, retired two champion, welterweight, middleweight. He was a long reigning champion in the UFC, retired for was a year or two before he came back to beat Michael Bisping, who is another one of my favorite fighters for the belt. But this is George. George's constantly posting on Instagram him still training, still working out, and this is him shoveling snow 400 meters on a track, 400 meters of snow. So he's shoveling it himself, and then he's going to train because that's just GSP. He is one of the most professional. He's one of the most. He's just like a sweet guy. He's like the probably the best role model, one of the best role models you could think of in professional sports, specifically MMA. So it's just a great video showing why he is the GOAT. He's not a prima donna. He works hard. He trains hard, and he's not even in the UFC anymore. Although I would love to see him come back and fight Khabib. I don't know if that would ever happen, but I love GSP. All right, moving on to more news. Everybody knows House impeaches Trump for the second time. Focus shifts to Senate trial. So the trial, from what I've heard, is going to take place after the inauguration or on the day of the inauguration. And what I've heard potentially is the timing of this is so that Republicans can charge him, remove him, uh, and not have to remove him from office, so they can like save face, letting him ride out his presidency, and then after his presidency, let the hammer fall. Whether that happens or not, I would not be surprised if the conservatives still hold strong as supporters for some reason. But glad to see that Trump is going to go down as the first president to ever be impeached twice. One of the worst presidents, the only president in modern day to try and overthrow the government. A lot of his bicycle riding MAGA crybabies are trying to get who are arrested are hoping that Trump gives them pardons. Which who knows? Maybe he'll do it. I could see him doing it. He could like whatever the craziest thing he has the ability to do. I could see him launching nuclear weapons the day before inauguration. I mean, he has the codes. He's still in office. He should be in prison. Him and his family should all be in prison. There's all kinds of investigations going on about how he's been stealing money and like all of these shell accounts and all of these things that him and his family have been doing during the presidency to just siphon money into their own personal accounts. They all should be in prison. All the Giuliani should be in prison. All these senators and Congress people that aided in the terrorist attack should be in prison. But knowing the reality that I live in and how our system tends to skew a little bit towards punishing poor people and people of color far more than wealthy white politicians, I don't see anything happening. I can't imagine anything happening. But they all should be in cages. They should all be in cages. All their children should be in cages. All the women should be forced to get hysterectomies. But anyway, let's move on to the last one and a more positive note. The documentary I've been waiting for forever. I spoke about him earlier. Michael Bisping's documentary is coming out finally. expected May 10th, hopefully this year. Produced by Adam Scorgi, who's an amazing documentary producer. But I'm definitely looking forward to the Bisping documentary. He's a fighter that's had a crazy life, full of crazy stories, and I can't wait to see. I mean, just a well-made documentarian producer telling the story of Michael Bisping. Highly looking forward to it. So looking forward to that documentary, which I will talk about on this show, on an episode of this show at some point. But let's do some shout outs and get out of here, shall we? Shout out to the LA Times. Shout out Ding Dong, the cocaine clown. Shout out George St. Pierre. Shout out Michael Bisping. And shout out Bisping Doc. But most importantly, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Get yourself 2 free audiobooks through Audible when you go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/audible. That gives you 1 free book per month if you stay with the service, but 2 free books when you sign up through my link, inspireddisorder.com/audible. Get your books, get Audible originals, guided wellness programs, news, and so much more. Get your 2 free books now when you sign up through my link, inspireddisorder.com/audible. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!